Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad you're here this morning. Got a great show lined up. Got a special guest coming back to see us. So we'll get started with our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. High today, 76. Low tonight, 61. And water temperature jumped up to 66 degrees. That's as warm as it has been this year. So we showed you that chart yesterday, how it's going up, and we're expecting some Spanish to be jumping in the boat, I'm thinking, this weekend. But today, they may catch some today, too. We'll just let you know on a day-by-day basis. Our river readings, take a look at Apalachicola, Bluntstown. It's flattening out. Actually going to start dropping by Saturday. It's obviously they're going to start closing up the dam gates up there at Jim Woodruff Dam in Chattahoochee. We're looking at a reading of 9.7. It's been around 10 now for the whole week. It's going to start dropping. The Choctaw at Caryville, pretty smooth over there. Not a lot of activity. It's at a 6.3 this morning. And for the weekend, it's going to be right around 6 foot. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery. Looking on the screen there, today is actually the 19th of March. Not a lot of strong tides. We do have a low tide at 6:45 this morning and a high tide at 10:30. So we have a slow incoming tide all day. Plus, we're going to be aided by a little south wind coming in about 5 to 10. All right, that takes care of our weather. We'll be right back with our special guest. Welcome back and welcome to a familiar face, Stan Kirkland.
Good morning. Good morning, Winston.
Listen, I used to call him Lieutenant Stan Kirkland, but
we
can't call you that anymore. This is retired Stan Kirkland.
Good to see you, Winston. How you doing?
I'm glad you're still going to come on the show.
Well, I just thought we'd come on and talk about some of the stuff this season for turkey hunting. And but how have you been? Everything good with you?
I've been working. Okay, now I know you can't say the same, but tell us what you've been doing since your retirement.
Well, visited my mom. Visited my mom up in Jackson County. Done a little. Doing some stuff there at the house, trying to catch up on cleaning and reorganizing my garage. And my father-in-law has been in the flea market business for years, and so he gave me a ton of fishing, a lot of little small stuff. So I've been trying to go through that and see what I can keep and use. And anyway, I've worked on a book that I'm putting together. Worked on it some. So. Anyway, just a lot of things like that, and I've serving on the Salvation Army board with a great group of community people. They're an outstanding organization in our community, so I'm glad to do that. None of this is paying, by the way. All of this is volunteer stuff. But
sounds like you are enjoying your retirement.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I do though. I miss the people at FWC. It was a great organization to work for 38 and a half years, and I appreciate you coming. I don't know that I've told you that, but to your face, but I appreciate you and Gail coming to the retirement thing they had for me.
That was a lot of fun.
I know you did a whole segment on it, but anyway, that was good, and I was just absolutely blown away by everybody's generosity and their love for me. I really appreciate it.
It spoke volumes to the number of people there, and also all the things were said about you. So that was a really good retirement party.
And Winston, I'll tell you, there's when I retired, there's a great young lady that took over where I left off. Her name is Becca Nelson, and Becca's already, she's hit the ground running. She's light years ahead of me, smart young lady, and she'll be great in the job. So
the big thing that generation has on their side is the technology. There's so much they can do with technology now.
Yeah, and Winston, in the last couple of years, you're exactly right. Everybody, not only Facebook, stuff posted, posting things on Facebook, or use a computer, posting things on Facebook. But now everybody is using Twitter and these other social media platforms, and it was a real struggle for me because I'm an old silverback, as they call them, and anyway, so It is. Technology is really
Yeah.
changing.
All right, well, let's get into, I know one of your big passions, I know you love to fish and hunt. We know that.
Yeah, I do.
And well, before we get into hunting, how's fishing been? Have you been able to do much lately?
Well, we've been, we did some wade fishing over the winter, believe it or not, in some canals locally, and I should have sent you a photo. I caught a 16-inch flounder this winter. Got a with a buddy. He actually caught the flounder, but I've got a photo of me holding his flounder. But this friend of mine, AD, caught a real nice flounder when he and I were fishing. I caught a couple of. I think I caught 4 reds, but they were all small reds. So we didn't have great luck. We couldn't find any trout. I don't know why. But the places where there should be trout, we just didn't find them this winter. And I don't know.
You know, that was a constant theme with a lot of trout fishermen that I know. They all said the same thing this winter. They just never did really group up like they normally do. And didn't go to places where they normally go this past winter. I don't know why.
Well, I don't either. It'll be interesting to see when the water temperature in our local bays hits about 68, 69 degrees, and you know more about this than I do, but when it hits right around that point, those trout, flounder, trout, of course I think the redfish are probably there already, but trout and flounder should be going back to these shallower places, and I'll tell you, every sunny Saturday from here for the next few months, it'll be boats on the water, and for people that like to saltwater fish, they'll be out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, we're going. Let's go and take a break now. We'll come back and talk some turkey. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Today we're Stan Kirkland, and we're going to get into some turkey hunting. I know that's your passion. We're talking about fishing now, but turkey, gobbler season will open up Saturday morning.
It'll open this Saturday.
And,
that's correct.
You're one of the best callers I've heard from so many people how good you are. So let's tell people some of your secrets and some things that you do to get ready for turkey season.
Well, these are things that I would recommend if you're a experienced turkey hunters already tuning me out, going, "Mate, I know all this stuff," and they're up, feeding the cat right now. But if you're a novice turkey hunter or you're wanting to go, here's some things I would consider putting you need. First of all, you need a vest. This is a vest I got several years ago. It's got multiple pockets on it, and you can put all your gear in here. You don't want a little bag you got to carry around with everything in it. Most turkey hunters have something like this. They sell them at your places like C&G, your Bass Pro Shops, your Cabela's of the world, your other hunting stores. They sell them. So, and not only that, this one's got a padded seat on the back, a couple of clips. You let it down, you can sit on it, and it's really nice. Another thing, Winston, I've got spoiled is a friend of mine, Dennis Palmer, and was telling me about this, and I got one several years ago. This is called a gobbler lounger. This is a chair. And I had a back injury in 2010, and it took me a while to recover from it. In fact, when I was recovering, one of the things I kept thinking about was with my back injury is I can't wait to get back and turkey hunt, because of course I had a long time. I had about 10 or 11 months to think about it. But this is called a gobbler lounger, and it's the easiest thing in the world to set up, and it sets up just like this, and you're only like 2 inches. Your rear end's only like 2 inches off the ground. You build you a little blind, or you can carry a makeshift blind with you, but it folds up very easily. It's got a Velcro strap that goes around the top. It's got a carrying strap on your back. So it's the easiest thing in the world. It's comfortable. Yeah. You can sit there for hours. Last year, the last time I went turkey hunting, I heard a bird gobble. I was in Jackson County. I heard him gobble at daylight. He gobbled one more time at about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I killed him at 10:30 when he came looking for me, and I never moved, but I was sitting in this chair. Wow. So, I sat there for about 4 hours, but I knew eventually he'd come, and he was an old bird. He'd actually been shot before. He had a pellet in his chest, and it wasn't the kind of shot I was using, because it was actually encapsulated in grist.
Right.
But he was an old bird, he's experienced. But the point is that if you'll have something comfortable, don't go and sit on the hard ground without a cushion, because you'll be squirming, you get uncomfortable, you get a cramp, in your legs or in your rear, and you just, you're moving, and you can't do that in turkey hunt. If you got to be still. So, but anyway, those are things. The other things you need, Winston, every turkey hunter dresses, of course. You should dress in camo because of, I mentioned about being concealed. I mentioned about building a blind. You can build it out of material that's out there. You don't have to, I have carried, I've carried everything from little bamboo sticks and then stretch camo material and put stuff in front of me. But the easiest thing to do is cut stuff that's out there and make you a makeshift blind. I carry a head net, and then I carry gloves as well. You want to conceal. You don't want your white hands showing, because a turkey can see those when they come up. As the old saying is, if a turkey could smell as good as they see, you'd never kill one, because they'd figure out where you are. As another turkey hunter, I can't claim this, as another turkey hunter told me, you can leave your gun at home, but you better carry your thermocell with you. Yeah. And this is one of the greatest inventions of the modern era. But it's I won't turn it on in here. But have you ever used one?
Yeah, we use them. Yeah, they're nice.
They're incredible. You can buy them anywhere now. Even some of your drugstores even sell thermocells. I've got one that came from a drugstore in Lynn Haven, actually. But you can buy them online. The first time I heard about these, I thought they were snake. It was like buying snake oil, Right. But they keep mosquitoes away from you. The company that manufactures these, I'm telling you, this company's got a good product, and it gives you a barrier after about a minute and a half or 2 minutes. And what it is a little butane cylinder, very small butane cylinder in the back. And when you hit the striker, there's a little fire, or a tiny flame, and it heats a metal plate. There's a little pad right here, and it emits a insect barrier, and it gives you a barrier of a couple of 100 square feet around you. And mosquitoes don't bother you. They stay away from that. They can't stand
It's
that.
amazing how that works, but it does work.
It is.
Yeah, fishermen use it,
right.
A deer stand, or a turkey blind, whatever.
And the old days of carrying, bug spray and having to spray, and then you get the bug spray on your hands and you get it on your gun, and it can affect the finish on your gun. Leave all that stuff at home. You don't need that.
That's right.
But take your thermocell and make sure you've got the. If you do take a thermocell, make sure you've got the replacement. Because a cylinder of the little butane will last 9 hours, and then they give you 3 pads with each refill. So that's a good, Thermacell's a good company. They got a good product, and you can, the other things that, and of course I mentioned about building a blind, carry a pair of little hand pruners with you, because you'll always have stuff that's around you. You don't want to, when you move, you don't want to have, stuff that's going to catch your gun. You want to, and you want to position yourself and be comfortable. I mentioned about calls. People now use these mouth calls. These are very common now. A lot of turkey hunters use mouth calls. The old days, I didn't bring one. Everybody used a box call. There's some great box calls that are out there. Some people actually use a striker. This is one right here that I carry with me, and sometimes I'll use it if I want a different call. I'll use a mouth call, and I'll use, I'll wait a minute and I'll use a striker to give that bird, another call.
Well, and that's another thing too. The different kind of calls that you use at different times, So.
Well, you're right, and this is for a hen. I wouldn't recommend. Some people do carry a gobbler call, a gobble, but the thing about that is, if you do a gobble, if there's, you don't want to do that if there's anybody trespassing, because somebody could come on your property and think you're, you know, and I just haven't had any. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend doing that. The other thing is a striker. These are, if I can get it out, it's hanging up. But anyway, these are very common now. A lot of turkey hunters have these around, and this is one that it's made by a company called Woodhaven. And I keep this little little protective plate on it. Mm-hmm. But anyway, very common. It's slate calls. So anyway, but good calls to have. And then the last thing, Winston, or thing I was going to mention, Winston, is you'll sometimes want to use locator calls. If you want to know if a turkey's in the area, you can either use an owl call at daylight. To get a gobbler to respond, because wild turkeys, particularly gobblers, will respond to the hoot of a barda. They will not.
They really don't like them.
No, they don't. And then later you can use, actually, this is a crow call, so you can use a crow call if you want to locate them. This doesn't bring the bird to you, it just tells you where they are. Okay. So anyway. But those are just some of the things. I have one other thing that we'll mention in a minute. But
we're getting ready to take a break. We'll take a look at our fish and game forecast now. But if you have a chance to, let's go and do this. If you have a chance to go turkey hunting, this is a great way to get started. It really is.
Well, stuff's pretty inexpensive to get started, other than your gun.
Yeah. Okay. But, let's look at our fish and game times when we'll take a break right after this. Brought to us by Mark Coward of Edgewater Beach Realty. Mark's number is 832-6000. Our time today now, early this morning was 1:31 or 3:31, but this afternoon, 1:52 to 3:52. Some ideal times. The weather should be really nice today. It might be a little windy, but that comes with March. So let's take our final break and be right back with Stan. All right, welcome back. We're going to start off with a couple of pictures now. I know folks are watching and they send these pictures in. We're excited to show them. And speaking of turkey hunting, Stan, what do you think about this little gobbler right here this young lady got?
Boy, that is a fine bird this young lady got.
All right, here is Chesney Arnold with her dad, Derek Arnold. These are folks from Teloja. I love Teloja, Florida. I got kin folks all down there. 10 years old, Amanda Whitehead's cousin. And this is her first time, and Amanda told me every time her dad goes in the woods, she goes with him.
Well, good for her.
This is her first gobbler, so congratulations, Chesney Arnold. And good job, Derek, taking your daughter out there. All right. And
that young lady's hooked.
She is hooked. And
she's hooked for life.
Thank you, Amanda, for sending that in, honey. Appreciate it. All right, next picture. Let's go. We're going to have one turkey and one redfish. This comes from Donnie Copper. Donnie sent me an email. You see up there, he said he caught it kayak fishing. Caught and released some nice bull reds kayak fishing the other night. So thank you, Donnie, and that's a good picture right there, buddy. Appreciate it.
Well, that's a big bull red.
That is really nice. So I just got this. I don't know if you know the details. This is an FWC truck in the water. Now, I don't know where this happened. I hadn't talked to Ken Paramore yet. I don't know if this is local or not, but we'll talk about that later. I'll get Ken to explain that. Since you don't have to explain it anymore.
I have no idea, but I'm glad that's a headache I don't have to deal with. Ken has had 2 Excedrin migraine pills, I can assure you.
I don't know if that's local. I'll tell you more about it. I just saw the picture. I thought it'd be funny with Stan coming on it.
Well, I appreciate you doing that. But I can laugh with you. I probably wouldn't be laughing if I was still working. I'd be going, where did that happen?
All right, let's get back to turkey hunt now. Like I said.
Well, one thing I wanted to show you. Do you know what? This is one thing I brought. And Jeff, I don't know if we can show a close-up of this. But I wanted to, do you know what this is?
You tell us what it is. I'm not sure.
All right. This is the old-fashioned, this is the way a lot of turkey hunters used to carry their birds out of the woods 100 years ago. And it's called a turkey tote.
Okay.
It's about the simplest thing in the world, and I make these.
Okay.
But this one is made out of elk antler. Of course, I had a friend that had lived in New Mexico, and he brought me a piece of elk antler, a shed he had picked up. So I made this one. But you see, it's got a short lanyard on it, and you simply hook this around the feet of the bird. You're able to hold this in your hand like that, and you can put the bird over your shoulder, and you can carry him out of the woods if you've got to walk any distance. if you've ever killed a wild bird, they've got spurs. It's kind of, they can be heavy, you know. That's a good problem to have, is a heavy bird. And when you get north of us, some of these states, Kentucky, north, you know, you get into birds there that are 22, 23, 24 pounds. And our birds don't get quite that big down here. About 21, 21 and a half pounds is typically about as large as you ever see. But anyway, these are, but I make these for people on occasion. Cool. Biggest thing is trying to come up, you know, with antler sheds to make them out of. But you just use the tip of a point somewhere on the rack to make those. That's good. I do remember once you said that. I know back in the day, those hunters really walked way back in the woods. We didn't have near the roads we have now. So it's easy to get out to your truck, but back in the day, they had walked a long way. And not only that, bag limits weren't what they are today. So if they could kill a couple of birds, 2 or 3 birds, you know, that you can imagine an old-timey hunter. Now, I'm not saying that was the way to go, but if they had killed several birds, you know, they would tie their legs, you know, with the lanyard, throw it over their shoulder, and they were, you know, they were good to go. But no, it's just a great time of the year to be out. Several people I've heard from a hunter or two. They've been listening to them gobble, and that you know, your songbirds, your cardinals. This time of year, if you know, get up one morning and go outside and just listen, because it's beautiful this time of year. The blooms and all that coming up. Your dogwoods, your other kind of trees, your plums, they're all blooming right now, and it's just a great, you know, great passion to have, and I love going this time of year. We're going to wish you good luck. I know that you can't go Saturday because of family obligations, but I know you'll be going pretty soon. Oh yeah, I will. I will, and I look forward to it. 2-bird bag, and you know, you can we've got, you know, hunting opportunities all over the country. So anyway, thank you, Winston. Thanks for having me on. Thank you, folks, watching Panhandle Outdoors. Do something good for your fellow man today, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.